The Cold War was at its peak, and tensions ran high across the Atlantic. 2 RAF Harrier pilots, Squadron Leader James Mitchell and Flight Lieutenant David Chin, were scheduled for a routine training exercise over the North Sea. They had flown together for 3 years and trusted each other completely. Their Harrier jets were nimble, fast, and built for unexpected situations. The morning sun was just breaking through the clouds as they prepared their aircraft. Both men felt the familiar rush of adrenaline that came before every mission. Before we begin, tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching from. Their radio crackled to life at 5:23 a.m. "We've got a problem," said the control tower officer, his voice tight and urgent. "4 American Navy F-14 Tomcats are coming your way. This is unscheduled. They're not responding to standard protocols." Mitchell and Chin exchanged worried glances. The F-14 was one of the most powerful fighter jets in the world, and now they faced 4 of them. "How much time?" Mitchell asked, his hands gripping the control stick. 8 minutes, came the reply. The 2 Harrier pilots looked at each other through their cockpit windows and nodded. They were ready, even if they didn't feel it inside. The 4 American jets appeared on the horizon like dark spots against the gray sky. Mitchell could count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, all moving in perfect formation. His heart was pounding, but his mind was clear. He had trained for this moment his entire career. Chen's voice came through the radio, steady and calm. "Stay sharp, Jamie. These guys are good, but we're better." Mitchell smiled slightly at his friend's confidence. He believed in Chen, and more importantly, he believed in their machines. The F-14 pilots had orders to engage and test the British pilots' skills. They believed their 4 jets had overwhelming advantage. The lead F-14 pushed forward aggressively, trying to intimidate the 2 Harriers. Mitchell made a bold decision. He would use what others thought was a weakness. He dropped his Harrier's altitude suddenly and hard, diving toward the gray-blue water below. The F-14s expected him to run and hide, but Mitchell had something else in mind. Chin immediately followed his lead, staying perfectly positioned on his wing. At 6:41 a.m., the real battle began. The American jets dove after them, but Mitchell knew something they didn't. The Harrier was built for close combat. He pulled up sharply, and his jet seemed to hang in the air like a hawk catching wind. The maneuver was impossible by normal standards, but the Harrier could do it. 2 F-14s shot past him, unable to follow. Mitchell was now behind them, a position of power in any dogfight. Chin had also pulled up, trapping another F-14 in a perfect crossfire. The American pilots couldn't believe what they were seeing. The radio exploded with confused American voices. "How did they do that?" one pilot shouted. "Break formation! Break formation!" another commanded. Mitchell and Chin were now in their element, moving with perfect rhythm and coordination. They had fought together so many times that they could almost read each other's minds. Every turn, every climb, every dive was perfectly timed. The F-14s were powerful, but they were also heavier and slower to maneuver. Mitchell had turned the odds against the Americans through pure skill and bravery. At 6:58 a.m., something unexpected happened. A 3rd F-14 managed to get behind Chen. Mitchell's best friend was suddenly in danger. Without hesitation, Mitchell rolled his Harrier upside down and accelerated toward them. He fired flares to distract the American pilot, then positioned himself perfectly between Chin and the threat. "I've got your 6, Mitchell said calmly into the radio. His voice didn't shake, even though his hands were trembling. This was what real friendship meant, putting yourself between danger and the people you loved. The 4th and final F-14 came at Mitchell from above, diving at tremendous speed. Mitchell could have panicked, could have tried to run. Instead, he did something his instructors had taught him but few pilots ever tried in real combat. He cut his engine's thrust to almost nothing and let his Harrier drop like a stone. The F-14 shot past him, missing by mere feet. Mitchell restarted his engines and climbed hard, positioning himself in the most dangerous spot of all, right behind the American jet. By 7:15 a.m., the 4 American pilots realized they had made a terrible mistake. They had underestimated 2 men in 2 smaller jets. Mitchell and Chin had turned every advantage into a disadvantage for the Americans. The F-14 pilots were skilled and brave, but they were also shocked and confused. In combat, confusion costs you everything. One by one, the American pilots signaled they were breaking engagement. They had been beaten, not by luck, but by superior flying skills and teamwork. As the F-14s retreated toward their aircraft carrier, Mitchell and Chin climbed back into the bright morning sky. Their hands shook as they reached down to switch off their weapons systems. The adrenaline was wearing off, replaced by the weight of what they had just accomplished. Chen's voice came through the radio, quieter now. "That was the best flying I've ever seen, Jamie." Mitchell didn't respond immediately. He was thinking about how his courage had protected his friend, and how Chen's trust had given him strength when he needed it most. They landed at their base at 7:32 a.m., and the runway crew rushed out to meet them. News had spread quickly through the base. 2 RAF Harriers had faced 4 American F-14s and won. But as Mitchell climbed down from his cockpit, he wasn't thinking about victory. He was thinking about the moment when Chen was in danger, and how he would do it all again without hesitation. Chen walked over and put his hand on Mitchell's shoulder. "We proved something today," Chen said, smiling. Mitchell nodded. They had proven that courage, teamwork, and trust in your partner could overcome any odds. That was the real victory.